All right, today we are working on a replication problem where the error message is it could not find the sync file for a task. Now I'm giving you that up front in case this is specifically what you're looking for. And we're going to go through all the steps to be able to identify the problem and then come to full resolution on it. So the first thing that we need to take a look at here is that on the left side of the screen, I've got replication on the active vault, and then to the right side of the passive vault. I've drilled down in that left pane under BMR-Regular into the backup section where we can see I have 4 safe sets there. I've done the same thing on the right side on the passive vault, and I've selected backups, but there is nothing listed there. So obviously we've got a replication problem where one is not going to the other. To verify this, I'm going to run a replication lag report. I'm now going to click on Status Report, Next, Next, and then we want Replication Lag. From here, I'm going to change this to a 0 day. What that means is that anything that's done a backup in the last however many hours, but basically immediately, it's going to get all of those safe sets. And for my vault, I'm just going to select vault-wide here. You do have the option to drill down to a specific task, etc., but we only have the one on here for the moment, so I can select the entire vault. I'll hit next on that, and I do want to submit that job immediately. And then finish. And then to check the status, I can go to the job monitor or the vault logs. It'll just be easier to click on the job monitor button. And then I'm going to sort by started at. And we can see at the very top here, I've got lag report. So you can double click on that or click the view log button. And we can see under this particular task, we have safe set number 4, but we have confirmed that it's not replicated there. And then we can also see in the job monitor, if we uncheck the show completed, we have the show active replication check mark in there that nothing is currently trying to replicate. If it was trying to replicate and you did the lag report with a 0 day, it's still going to show in there because the replication is actively processing. But as we can see here, we do have a problem. And that is confirmed with that replication lag report. So at this point, we need to see what is going on with the 2 vaults as far as its task and its problems, right? So the first place that we're going to go look is the logs for the task. If I go to the active vault and go to the logs, so the log I want is this one. And we can see here the replication session has an error. Completed with 1 errors. The local completion status was that it succeeded, but it didn't actually work. I've always found this error message to be a little silly in that it succeeded, but it didn't. So we didn't transfer anything, and we had an error in the replication session. This doesn't really tell us very much, though. And for replication, you always check the logs on both sides. So now that we know that the logging on the active side doesn't really give us much information on the passive side, though, I do have this passive log, which when I open it here, I'm going to, we have right here, scroll down, there we go, could not find the sync file for task. And I'll scroll over to make it a little bit easier to find here. So at this point, because we cannot find the sync file for the task, it actually gives us a little bit of information right here in the log, saying I searched where it's supposed to be on the X drive. So I'm going to copy this path here, and I want to verify with eyes on that directory if that file actually exists in the X drive. So I will paste it in the address bar, and then sort by name. And I'm going to scroll down to the S's, where we have only server logs, and I don't see any sync logs. You're going to have a sync.dat and a sync.mir. And so I've confirmed, eyes on the directory, that that does not exist. Now, one thing for this fix, it's important to note that I have the pool files available to me. The command that we're going to run to fix this problem is dependent upon these pool files existing. So you're going to want to check those, make sure that those 4 exist on the system before we're able to continue. Obviously here, they do exist. So we're going to recreate that sync file to be able to fix this problem where it can't find it, right? The pool does have a lot of resiliency built in various ways to fix problems. One other thing real quick before we run that command though, is asking the question, why did it happen? And in my particular setup, I've forced this problem by manually making a couple edits. But what could happen in an environment is that you have disk issues. So you're going to want to jump to your event viewer, take a look at any NTFS errors. Maybe there was a hard shutdown, something that caused that file to either become corrupt or removed from the system because of an NTFS error. You're going to want to fix any NTFS errors or disk issues, RAID errors, anything like that before you move on with this. Because if we run the command to fix this issue, but there's still disk errors, it's just not going to help because the root cause of the issue has not been resolved. So I need to make sure to point that out to take a look at what caused that issue in the first place. Now, when it comes to issues like this with the sync file missing or anything where you've got a task that could be potentially problematic, you're going to want to run a check CRC and a SSI verall on both sides of the replication here, active and passive. So we're going to click on the storage management dropdown, click on diagnose, and then next through the wizard to the check CRC integrity of the pool system. We want that one for our particular task. I'm just going to select each one of them, drilling down to it. And then we do want to submit that job immediately. And at the same time, you can run the verall. So we're going to go to that same spot under the storage management dropdown, and we're going to verify all safe set generations. And we're going to select this task all the way through the wizard and submit that job immediately. We're going to do that for the active and for the passive. And that way we can verify the existence or non-existence of all the items that are supposed to be for that task. Now that we've addressed that, we need to find the ID number of the task. So on the passive vault here, we're going to right click on it, go to properties, and we can see we have a task name, BMR-Regular, with the ID of 1. Also make note, the task ID may be different between an active and a passive vault. So where we found this issue was on the passive vault, that file doesn't exist. So that is why I went to the passive vault properties and got the ID, number 1. Okay, and I'm on the passive vault working here. So we can open up the command prompt to the director installation location. In my case, C drive director prog. There's a little shortcut that you can do where you can cd to %vault %. That will take you to the main directory. And then you can go into the prog folder. From here, we have the command vvpoolop synch.datrecreate for task number 1. And that is going to recreate the sync file from the pool file there. So I'm going to go ahead and run that. And then in my job monitor, we'll keep an eye on it. And we have this other pool operation for the BMR task. We can see in here that it came and completed without any issues. No errors, warnings, failures, etc. Regenerating sync.dat for the task. And then over here, it's saying, hey, I can't find anything in the sync.dat. There's no safe sets listed there because it doesn't exist. But I was able to find the 3 safe sets in the pool sync.dat. So now when we jump back to the directory, we have sync.dat and sync.mir. Perfect. It was able to create it, no problems at all there. And now that those are done, I'm going to go ahead and minimize a couple things here. Oh, and look at that. Passive replication already kicked off for us. It was waiting in the wings. And we can see that it is moving some data there. Now we can see here that the passive replication has completed. It would show a different status other than completed in this column if it had any errors, but we can double click on this, go into the log down to the very bottom of it, and we can see no warnings, errors, or failures for that replication coming through. We can also see the amount of data it transferred to come through. Now, as a final step, we always want to make sure that the task is fully healthy after we've run any pool repair commands. So we're going to do the same thing that we did earlier, where we come into the storage management dropdown, hit the diagnose, and we're going to go through, do a full check CRC on that particular task. And again, just going through the wizard here, selecting each item. We're going to do the same thing, storage management, diagnose, and we're going to do a verify all safe set generations. Once those are kicked off, we can take a look at the job monitor again, where we see the check CRC and the SSI verall are both processing here on the vault. And here we can see that the verify and the check CRC have completed without an issue. Opening up the logs here and scrolling down to the bottom, no errors, warnings, or failures. And then same thing for the SSI verall. So everything's looking good there with that command completed. And you just hit refresh on the director console to show the safe sets again. We can see that everything is there, matches up on the active and the passive vault. So good to go for making sure that your replication is there. And again, just make sure that the source of the issue is taken care of. It could just be that some storage went offline and there's no problem at all, but you just want to make sure. So if you have any questions about this, etc., go ahead and leave a comment down below, and we'll catch you on another video. See ya.